This is the biggest culture difference that I have noticed between life in the UK and life in Australia, and surprisingly, it's not the amazing weather or the lifestyle, it's actually something very different. Stay tuned to today's video to find out what that is. Before we get into the video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and yeah, let's get into it. So as a Brit that spent pretty much his whole life in the UK up until I was 21 years old, I then moved to Australia, and I've been living in Australia for about 2.5 years now. Definitely, I've noticed a lot of differences in the culture here, but there is one massive culture difference which has stood out to me since moving from the UK to Australia, and that is the views towards the country. Yeah, the views towards the country from the people that live there. There is very different vibes and very different cultures to do with this. Now, first of all, I feel like in Australia, people are brought up to love the country, speak positively about the country, whereas in the UK it's the complete opposite. We are almost brought up from a young age with this negative view, this negative culture about the country. Being in Australia, I've noticed it's very clear that there's a lot of people that love the country, speak very positively about the country. So many people say Australia is the best country in the world. Just look at my comments on YouTube. The amount of people that just speak so positively about Australia. There's just a vibe in Australia to massively feel passionately about the country, feel positive. Everyone's got their favourite places and rave about how good the country is and almost brag about it. And to be honest, Australians do have a point, because Australia is an amazing country. But you look at the UK, how often now do you hear people say, the UK is amazing, I love the UK, it's the best place? Very rarely do you hear that now. I mean, the UK has obviously got a lot of issues going on at the minute, so it doesn't exactly make it a positive place to think about, but everyone's in agreement that it's pretty shit. Everyone in the UK complains about life there. Everyone that's moved abroad also complains about how bad life is in the UK, and the culture. It's just negative, negative, negative. In Australia, it is all positive. It's a massive difference.
British people are so negative, you can't even insult them. Like, you could go, "You're all a bunch of miserable alcoholics." And they'd go, "Yeah, we are, aren't we? Here's a beer." Or, "Your country is cold and everything is expensive." They'd be like, "Oh, tell us about it." Like, I'm from Australia, where people say, "If you don't love it, leave."
And it's very clear when you speak to people. For example, if you say to an Australian, "I don't like this place in Australia," you speak negatively about Australia, they're going to get defensive and defend their country and probably argue with you. Again, look at my comments on YouTube and TikTok. I generally speak very positively about Australia, but whenever I do mention something negative, I get hammered for it, because Aussies are very defensive about their country, and you say anything negative and they're going to be defensive and speak up and stand up for their country. In the UK, if you say the same thing, the UK is terrible, I don't like this place, people in the UK are just going to agree with you. They're just going to be like, yeah, it is, I don't like it either. No one in the UK, I feel like, is going to stand up for the country like Australians do and be like, nah, I like this place. It's not the case. In the UK, everyone is in agreement that it's bad and negative, which I don't agree with, by the way. But in Australia, Aussies are defensive, they have their favourite places, and it's very different to what it's like in the UK, where no one is arguing about which city is better in the UK. No one has their favourites. Everyone's just in agreement that it's not great. Obviously, I say everyone. That doesn't obviously mean everyone. I'm generalising here, but from what I've noticed, it's definitely the case. Also in Australia, I feel like there is a lot of flags flying everywhere. The Australian flag, people fly it at their houses. I noticed this a lot in America, actually, when I went there, and I do like it. I feel like every country should be waving its flag proudly, because that's their country. I cannot believe in the UK, I don't know if you guys have seen it recently, but there's this argument about whether the UK should be flying its flag or whether it's offensive to certain people. I don't, like, what do you mean it's offensive? It's the UK, we should be proudly flying our flag, but there's almost a shame to fly the flag in the UK.
Everywhere you look, there are St George's and Union Jack flags. So, is this pride or prejudice?
You're almost seen as a bit of a bad person if you walk around with an English flag or put an English flag on the front of your house, which I know is mental. But in Australia, I feel like there's a lot more Aussie flags. You walk past houses in the suburbs, a lot of them have Aussie flags hanging outside. In the towns, there's Australian flags hanging in a lot more places. I definitely noticed this a lot more than in the UK, where I feel like there's for some reason like a bit of a shame to fly the country's flag. Whereas in Australia, people are proud here to fly the flag of the country as they should be. The amount of Aussies that I hear saying Australia is the best country in the world, and to be honest, I do agree in a lot of ways. If you flip that and you look at the UK, how often now do you hear people say the UK is the best country in the world? I very rarely hear it. I feel like people say a lot. The UK used to be one of the best countries in the world, but in terms of now, it's very rarely you hear someone really speaking positively about the UK. And like I said, whilst the UK does have its issues, I don't think we should be encouraging this culture of hating the country. We should be celebrating our identity. I feel like in Australia, they do it a lot more. And in general, I feel like Australia does still have its identity. It feels like Australia. The UK doesn't really feel like the UK anymore, if you know what I mean. But the UK is really quickly losing its identity. I feel like it's a really bad thing that's being encouraged in the UK, and that is to hide our identity and not celebrate our identity of being English. So there's just a couple of points there. The overall point being, I feel like in Australia, there is way more of a positive culture and vibe and everything like that towards the country compared to the UK, where it's not the case. I don't know what it's like in Australia, whether you're brought up from young to really appreciate the country you live in and enjoy it, but in the UK it seems like we're almost, from a young age, are almost brought up with this negative view about the country. The news is negative. I don't like that. Regardless of the issues that the UK is facing, we shouldn't be raising people to hate the country and speak negatively about it. So yeah, for me, that's one of the biggest culture differences. There's loads of different culture differences I noticed between the UK and Australia. I'll leave this video on the screen for some comparisons between the cultures in both countries. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on this video if you're from the UK or you're from Australia. Let me know your thoughts, whether you agree with me or not. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.